Yes, sir. But I've been getting, Michael Jackson, he used a lot of love. And today is, he's trending right now as we speak. Matter of fact, a lot of people showing his documentaries and everything. So I said, oh, why wouldn't we have someone who knows Michael um, personally that can testify? Okay. So, yes, sir. So we are live. Thank you, Brother Wayne, for coming on. I want to thank everyone for watching today, tuning in to a special edition of Off the Record. We have with us someone who's a very close friend to my family and to many others. His name is Brother Wayne Muhammad, and he worked very closely with the late, great Michael Jackson. And he is here via audio, and we would like to interview him today to have this great conversation. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Wayne.
Wa alaikum salam, beloved. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Brother Wayne, the first thing I want to know is what was it like working with Michael Jackson?
It was a wonderful experience. It was second only to working with the minister. I felt like Michael treated everybody or wanted everyone to be treated as if they were royalty. Michael told me that he couldn't tell the fans no. So whenever we had to do something, I had to come up with creative ways to get it done without telling the fans no. He was very, very considerate of other people's feelings.
Excellent. Did that make it difficult for you doing security for him when you're trying to be considerate of the fans, but also putting your job first? How was that? How did you do that?
I made sure he wasn't around when I did what I did.
Yes,
no, he had the, I've worked for quite a few people, and he had the most dedicated fans that I've ever seen before. They were, out of love, they became a different breed of people. They meant to do whatever they could to see him, to touch him, to hear him, whatever it took. We had people during the court trial that came from different countries without a place to stay and stayed for the entire trial.
Yes, sir. Wow.
So he had a different kind of love that came from his fans that I seen from any of the other entertainers.
Excellent. Yes, sir. And how did you get the contract, or how did you start working on Michael Jackson security?
Well, Michael and the minister were friends. And I got a call to go to Vegas because I was familiar with Vegas and pick Michael up and bring him to one of the minister's homes. When I got there, I was greeted by Brother Leonard Farrakhan, and he gave me the situation and information and what have you. And 7 days later, we still hadn't made it to the minister's house. We started heading for California. We stayed in a hotel for another 7 days in California. Then we rented the home in Beverly Hills and stayed there for a year. I told my family I was just leaving for a day or two to go take brother to Phoenix. So that's how I got started on the employment mission. But to be honest with you, I met Michael when we were 12 years old. Michael's brother Marlon married my cousin, and Marlon and Michael used to come over to our house because my cousin lived in California. In New Orleans. And she would stay with us in California, and they would come over there to play basketball / visit with my cousin, if you know what I mean.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Marlon and Carol are the only ones in the family that I know of that are still married from the original marriage.
Okay, excellent. How did Michael Jackson treat you and the rest of the brothers?
With with extreme respect. He treated us like we were sent to him by the minister, and he really, really valued and respected the minister. He loved the man dearly. And so he looked at us as being the minister's people. So he treated us as such. And it was what I would humbly call a beautiful relationship. You know, everybody has issues. And I know that there's a whole lot of horrible things that's being said about Michael. That being said, these people that are saying these things are actually clueless.
Mm.
And I say that because if you and I were walking down the street, you're in college and I'm retired. If I see a $10,000 item and I desire to get it, I purchase it, you might think, oh, this brother-in-law lost his mind because you don't have $10,000 in your pocket to purchase it.
Yes, sir.
But Michael, from the age of 7, was blessed to be able to purchase a Rolls Royce and or a Bentley every other year. Now, at 7, I wasn't doing that.
Yes, sir.
So I'm thinking that's weird, right?
Yes, sir.
It's not weird if you have the means to do it.
Mm.
If you live in a mansion and I live in an apartment, it's because we're both living according to our means.
Yes, sir.
Now, certainly if I'm living in an apartment, I don't understand why you need 11 rooms. I only got one with a pull-out bed coming out the wall.
Yes, sir.
If that's your mindset, you're never going to understand a person that has no worries, no financial. When they said Michael Jackson was broke, Michael was pulling in at least $3 million every quarter just from royalties.
Yes, sir.
So Michael is that kind of guy. He was just a very, very beautiful spirit. And it's sad to see the people lie on him. But during the trial, I experienced that about 7 or 8% of what was said by the media was actually true. The other 90+% was either deceptive intelligence or downright lies. You know, they were basing it on, in current day, we have a man that's leading the country, so they say, but yet he's told over 10,500 lies
Yes, sir.
in just under 3 years. It's amazing that these are the people that we're listening to talk about our brother in a negative way.
Yes, sir.
And we're so foolish that we go for it, even though we know that they talk about our minister in a negative way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And they're so bold, they talk crazy about him, but yet they never say he's a liar.
Absolutely.
So they took Michael's generosity and they turned it against him. Why? Because they're not generous people.
Yes,
so their mindset is different. They say, well, he said he had children in his bedroom. Yes, he did. But Michael had a 5,000 square foot bedroom. The average home is somewhere around 2,000 square foot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that means if you got children coming over to your house, then you're in a smaller space than Michael had children in his bedroom.
Yes, sir.
So Michael was extremely misrepresented by those who American public consider media to represent him.
Yes, sir.
So I think that's the best I could share with you on that. I think he was well misrepresented, and we have many, many examples of that same type of misrepresentation all around us.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you, sir. And thank you all for watching. Brother Wayne, how was it? How was Michael Jackson as far as giving charity and being a humanitarian? How was his work and effort from what you observed?
Well, I don't know uh, the actual number. I know that it's over 400 million,
Mm,
and it is said to be the most of any entertainer to ever give in charity.
mm,
And again, can we understand what I just said? Because most of us, if we pull out our family tree and go back generations and generations and generations, most of us, our entire family tree hasn't made $400 million.
yes, sir.
Here's one man that gave it away in a charitable act.
Mm, yes,
And
sir.
they say that man is wacko.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay.
Why? Because they know they're not going to ever give away that much money themselves.
Yes, sir. Well, Brother Wayne, what? How much of him owning the Sony catalog led to people to turn on him and to attack him?
Well, he made a deal with Tommy Mottola of Sony, and apparently he wasn't supposed to be able to do the deal. But Michael pulled a Michael on him, and he ended up purchasing a very, very valuable music catalog. And it was offered to him only because they knew he couldn't do it.
Mm,
And yet he did it. So everybody that was involved got in really, really hot water behind that
mm.
because they didn't want this young black man to own the people's music that was in the catalog. Prince once said, if you don't own your masters, then your master owns you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And now Michael Jackson owns all of these masters. I saw the catalog. It was inches thick, and it went from 1920 something
Mm,
all the way to the present day when he was alive.
mm. Yes, sir. Wow. And do you know some of the names outside of the Beatles that were on there? Because people just keep saying the Beatles because they were the biggest name. But do you know other artists that he owned the rights
I,
to?
I don't know if they're the biggest names or not, but again, we're, we're talking about 1920. I think it was 23 or 26. I'm not certain.
Mm,
And it ran all the way up to, at that time, somewhere around 2006 or 7, I believe it was when I saw it.
mm,
But that being said, you had the Beatles, you had Elvis Presley, you had Ray Charles,
mm,
and I believe it was Little Richard.
mm, mm,
Little Richard, Michael actually gave Little Richard his music.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, and even from what I was told, I have no actual facts, but I was told that the Queen of England was upset with the people who were involved in making the deal because they didn't want their Beatles to be under somebody else's ownership.
Mm, yes, sir.
So
Wow.
there was a lot of so-called scams, but it was really truth. These folks have a way of skirting truth in order to make sure you don't find out. Look what they did with us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
400 years they've been doing it to us, and many of us still don't believe they ever did anything wrong.
Yes, sir. Well, Brother Wayne, what did Michael Jackson, did he ever give you any gifts to the brothers around with his because he was so generous? And if so, could you explain to us about that?
Michael was always giving gifts.
Mm,
If we took Michael to somebody's house, there used to be a store, Sharper Image, and before we would go visiting people, we would go to Sharper Image. And if Michael wanted to go, then we would have them close the store down and put that brown paper all over the windows so that Michael could shop.
mm.
And we would load up the trucks with all the merchandise. And then when he would visit people, he would give them gifts, and primarily Sony products, because he owned most of Sony, or at least half.
Yes, sir. Excellent.
And I know that myself, it was Michael had a gold room. And when we moved into this mansion, he told me to set up the gold room. And I did as he requested. And when I got done, he came and checked on it. And there was a wooden elephant with brass inlays in it. And so he said, wow, it looks amazing. But why is the elephant here? I said, well, you told me to let it talk to me. So I was doing the talk to me thing, and I put the elephant here so he could keep an eye on the gold. And then Michael said something that was shocking to me, and I never realized it as I was working. But he said the elephant is brass. It's not gold. And that made me understand that all that stuff that I had put in there was literally millions of dollars worth of actual gold. We're talking about clocks and candelabras and furniture. It was amazing after I came to that realization. So I asked Michael, where would you like me to put the elephant? And he said, you're into woodwork. Why don't you keep it? Now, this was a solid wood elephant that was approximately 2.5 foot tall and about 3.5 foot long.
Yes, sir.
And it took 4 brothers to put it in my truck. Again, when we came time to move out of the mansion, he had purchased a lot of tools so that I can build a library shelf for him. And so I asked him, did he want the tools to go to the hangar or to the ranch as we moved out of the property? He said, no, sir. Those are your tools. You figure out where to put them.
Yes, sir.
So he was generous and gave gifts in just a different kind of way. It was he didn't watch TV, so he sent me to Hollywood to purchase a bookstore. And I didn't purchase the bookstore. I just purchased all the books in the bookstore. And the people were just flabbergasted because I came in there with $120,000 and I bought every book they had.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I came back with change because it only cost me $118,000.
Yes, sir.
So yes, he was a very, very generous man, and he knew what he wanted. See, we sometimes don't put forth our vision in steps to accomplish our goal. We just dream.
Yes, sir.
That's why they got us stuck on the American dream.
Yes, sir.
Because as long as we keep sleeping, we'll keep dreaming and we'll never accomplish anything.
Yes, sir.
But men with vision don't dream. They use their vision to accomplish their goals.
Yes, sir.
See, the minister is not a dreamer. He's blessed. He's blessed not only with vision, but the vision of Almighty God himself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we don't understand that in our own personal realities. Excellent. But this exists whether we understand it or not. So Michael was like I said, every category that you're going to ask me about, you're going to find Michael at the top of that category. Even in respect to children.
Could you explain?
Well, Michael admired children because of their innocence. And Michael once said himself, he would rather kill himself than to hurt a child. Now, being with him quite a bit, especially around children, I believe him. because he was tickled at the innocence of children. You know, we don't remember, I guess I forgot him too. I think his name was Art Linkletter. And then later on, Bill Cosby, who had a show saying kids do the darndest things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They used to interview children and they would say the darndest things, you know, but didn't nobody trip off of Art Linkletter or Bill Cosby when they were dealing with all these children. And here it is, Michael didn't even deal with them in that way. He just wanted them to feel special. So what'd he do? He did what nobody else would think of doing. He put an amusement park in his backyard. And they said, yeah, but he had children over there. That boy that took him to trial. No, the boy didn't take him to trial. The mother took him to trial. And what they don't tell you is that the mother went to LA County, and LA County said, get out of here. So she went to San Bernardino County, where Mr. Snedden, who was the district attorney at the time, had been looking to get Michael for a very, very long time. So he looked at the case, and instead of telling her to go where she should have went, he took the case.
Yes, sir.
And he coerced people to lie. Wait a minute, bro. How you know he coerced people to lie? Because in the opening days, he had witnesses come up. And this is how the media worked too. He had witnesses come up, and the witnesses said, yes, he did it. Next witness. Did he do it? Yes, he did it. Next witness. Did he do it? Yes, he did it. So we have a lunch break. The media comes out. Michael Jackson's guilty. He did it. He did it. He did it. Then we come back from break, and Tom Mesereau, one of the best attorneys we got in the county of Los Angeles, this cat went up there and said simply, Mr. Snedden told you to say, yes, he did it. Is that right? Yes, he did. So he didn't really do it. No, he didn't. That's how we opened up the trial, by busting out the lies right off the bat. And guess what? Do you think the media went back outside and said, hey, we take back what we said because that was all lies? No, they let it ride.
Yes.
So the people don't know what Mesereau did. Mesereau was brilliant in there. When I first walked up to the courtroom with Michael, one of the lieutenants at the Santa Maria County Sheriff's Department, yeah, I named him. One of the lieutenants said to me, are you with the nation? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, I just want you to know, I don't like what you're doing and I don't like you. I'm like, wow, okay, yes, sir. And Michael said, no, you can't talk to him like that. You can't, he's with me and you can't talk. I said, Mike, calm down, brother. I said, it's like the dog barking at the moon. Long as the moon don't bark back, we okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
sure enough, I went in and we did what we had to do. Michael told Mesereau, the attorney. Mesereau did something, and that man came. I was sitting in the back of the courthouse on an aisle seat. You know how we do it.
Yes, sir.
And he came and put one knee to the ground like he was genuflecting. If you Catholic, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And he said, look, I was out of line and I want to apologize for my words.
Yes,
And
sir.
I told him, I said, oh, it's no problem with me, sir. It's not your words that offended me. It was your mindset.
Yes, sir.
Because you can apologize all you want. You still think that way. But anyway, getting back, I digress a little bit. Getting back, that mother, she took the stand and Mesereau said, her name, right?
Yes, sir.
So are you Jane Doe? She said, what do you mean by that? I knew right then it was going to be a long trial. So why are we here in the trial? Let me explain. The young boy had cancer, and it was said to be terminal. Michael built a theater on the property, and in the theater, on both sides of the sound booth, the video booth, there are hospital rooms.
Mm.
He took the boy in and placed him in the hospital room and had a doctor come to the ranch and treat the boy with for his cancer, and the cancer became in remission.
Mm. Mm.
After the cancer became in remission, it was now time for you all to go on your way. Thank Michael and thank God you're still going to live, child. Now, I'm thinking that all is good, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, the lady didn't want to leave the ranch. So, in her heartbreak of having to leave the ranch that her son was being cared for, she came up with all this stuff. And so she had people that were witnesses that proved that they were lying by their very statement. You know, it's like you saying, yeah, I talked to Brother Wayne. I was looking at him face to face. Well, we know something wrong with your statement there, Chief, you know?
Yes, sir.
And that's how these witnesses, so-called witnesses, were doing. And the trial started, I believe, in January, which means that you already got everything you need for the case, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, in late December, they raided Michael's home at the ranch and went as far as taking a knife and cutting off the pillow top of the mattress so that they can try and find some evidence for a trial that's going to start in less than a month. That means all this accusations and everything like that, you ain't found not one piece of proof. And that was also proven by the end of the trial, because the Snedden, who, by the way, was a golf buddy in the same country club as the judge, asked the judge to take the 10 counts and turn it to 30 counts. 10 counts were felony counts. He wanted those same 10 counts to be misdemeanor counts. He wanted those same 10 counts to be infractions. An infraction is like a traffic ticket.
Yes, sir.
So if he couldn't get him on a felony, he wanted to at least give him a ticket. But guess what? Mesereau went in there, all 10 counts, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. 10 times, and you can hear the crowd outside making the announcer talk a little bit louder in the courtroom. The crowd's way outside, but there's so many of them. Every time they said now guilty, it was announced over a loudspeaker, and they would just roar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, excellent. Okay, but Wayne, one question. I mean, real quick, I have to stop for our commercial. This is the sponsors. I want to thank my sister Miriam and her book ABC I Love Me. Get that on Amazon. She has a children's book. My brother Rashad, his t-shirts Politically Oppressed. His company with Brother Jamal, street premiere. And my second children's book is called Cleopatra. It is on Amazon. Thank you all for sponsoring. Okay, Brother Wayne, thank you for your transparency. We also have some questions from the audience real quick.
Hey, I want to thank all them people too. I love them people. And all of those, everybody that's listening, man, don't just look at it as a commercial. Go on and support our people.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Wayne. Okay. We love you. We love you as well, sir. Sister Khadija says, ASA, brother, did you notice a difference in Michael after he accepted Islam?
No. Because, you know, I remember the minister saying the greatest religion of all is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that's how Michael lived his life. So his change did not take place because he was a good man. I believe that his enemies grew.
Yes, sir.
His enemies grew, but Michael already knew what we know. And Michael only left the Jehovah Witnesses because of Thriller.
Could you explain, please?
Huh?
Could you explain that? I didn't know that. Could you explain what that means?
Well, Thriller was said to be a demonic type of video, and
Okay.
the whoever the powers to be in the Kingdom Hall or Jehovah Witnesses, they did not approve of it.
Mm,
And so Michael was what some people call excommunicated
mm,
and couldn't go to the meetings anymore. He
mm,
still believed the same. It didn't change him then.
mm,
It probably hurt his mama more than anybody else
mm,
because his mother and Reby are really, really strong in
mm.
the Kingdom Hall.
Yes, sir.
And that's uh, one of his greatest loves was his mother. And if you got to know his mother, you would know why. She's just a very beautiful, down to earth woman.
Mm,
She knows she's done good, bad, ugly, and everything else, but she's lived a decent life and she's raised some wonderful children. And I think we should all honor her on behalf of her bringing up those children the way they did.
yes, sir. We should. Okay, brother.
Uh,
Go ahead, brother. Man, I'm listening.
well, go. No, please go.
No, sir. I was saying that my sister. I just want to make sure you know. My sister Mimi says, "Something like Brother Wayne, please give the greetings to you and your family, and may Allah continue to bless you all." Brother Fred sends the greetings.
Praise be to Allah.
So Brother Quinn
Please,
says,
please, please return the greetings and please share my love to my little Mimi. I know she ain't my little Mimi no more, but she'll always be for me.
"Yes,
And
sir."
same with Shotty Shad. I don't care what they call him now.
Yes, sir. Sister Camilla X Jones says, "This is giving her so much life. She loves your content." Assalamu alaikum. Sister
Wa
Kimberly
alaikum salam.
from LA says, "Brother Wayne," with a lot of exclamation marks. Sister Mimi, thank you very much. Brother Fred says, "Thank you for sharing." Um, Brother Janelle said, "What happened to the elephant, Brother Wayne?"
I still have it.
Oh, you said, praise it.
And I still have the tools as well.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Yes, sir. Okay, I'm coming. I see you all's question. I mean, your responses, Brother Wayne. How did Michael Jackson's mother and family treat you while you were working with them? I mean, working with Michael Jackson. How did they treat you?
Like family.
Mm, mm.
Again, like I said, my cousin Carol is married to Marlon.
Okay, yes, sir.
And matter of fact, Janet was the one that said to Reby and Latoya, you know he's your cousin, right? And so, you know, everybody that you know of is just like you know them to be. You know, Jackie is the elder statesman of the children. And then you got Tito, who don't play. Tito is Tito. That's Joe's son. Not that he act like Joe, but he ain't gonna take no mess. And then you got Jermaine. I'm sorry, I miss Reby at the top. She's the firstborn. Reby broke my phone when we were at the ranch, and so she called somebody on my phone, and apparently it didn't go well. And she tried to hang up my phone with like an old school phone,
Yes, sir.
and broke it with her fingernail. Bless her heart, but it's okay because her brother had given me the phone, so we good. We good.
We good.
Yeah. Okay, Jermaine. Then comes the next one is a girl. That's Latoya. I've actually worked with Latoya before when she was in Vegas going through some things with her ex-husband. We helped her out, and I've actually traveled with Jermaine. Then next comes Marlon, who is my cousin, and then Michael, and then sweet little Janet, who he called Tinkerbell.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And believe it or not, Janet might have the best business mind of all of them.
Could you explain why? Could you explain why that's the case?
Well, you know, Janet was doing what she did, and it broke her heart, but she had to fire her father as her manager. And that's around the time she came out with that song called Control.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
After that, she was definitely in charge of her career and her life. Even when she went out there and married that fella, I can't remember his name, there was a business aspect to that made her a very, very wealthy woman in the event that they separate for whatever reason. And so now she's back here with her son, and she's doing quite well. We're not going to worry about little Janet no more.
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, excellent. I just want to read some of the comments, brother Wayne. My sister Naima says she never knew this. Brother Kevin says powerful. Brother Fred says he wants to accept Islam. Brother Donald, that's Fred Brown. Thank you, Brother Fred Brown. Brother Donald says this is one of the best interviews he's heard regarding Michael Jackson. Brother Dorsey says, Walaikum Salam, could you please write a book so people can learn this truth? Tracy, Walaikum Salam. Sister Mimi says, my girl Janet. Yes, Mimi, we know you love Janet Jackson. Brother Chantil says, what was the greatest lesson that you've learned from Michael Jackson, sir?
Friends in all walks of life. You know, well, I don't have to tell you, you know, and I'm certain that most of your listening audience knows that we have benefited greatly because of the friendships that the minister has.
Yes, sir.
And when we represent the minister, people acknowledge that in us. I didn't say represent, I said represent.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And with Michael, my goodness, I would be mobbed because people felt that I knew where Michael was. And so when you talk about traveling the world for free, if you will,
yes, sir.
You know, after I finished working with Michael, I was offered trips around the world. I was offered all type of wonderful things because of my relationship with Michael. You know, I just didn't want to go down in history known as an umbrella man.
Yes, sir.
Something about being a character for the rest of your life didn't sit well with me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm almost grown, man. I deserve to be.
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, Brother Wayne, I thank you all for watching and thank you all for your comments. Brother Wayne, speaking of traveling around the world, was there ever a time that you feared for your life or may have received death threats? And if so, how did you overcome that while you were doing security?
Well, no, sir, not while I was doing security. You know, I remember again, I'm not apologizing for referencing the minister, but I wouldn't be who I am without him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so many of the things that come out of my mouth are sometimes parroting what I've heard in his presence. So I would say humbly that about, well, a long time ago, I remember hearing the minister thanking the FOI for making him feel secure.
Yes, sir.
Or securing him. He said, but Allah was sufficient for him. And with fear, faith, and truth, when we were in Arizona and the minister was out for a walk and the brothers fell back behind him to give him his space.
Yes, sir.
And he walked up on the sidewalk and there was a bull. You know, I mean, you know, I love me some minister, but I'm just saying, he'd have still been cool with me had he not kept going. Yes, but again, we have to understand that all the prophets, all the messengers didn't have what we have. Allah came to us himself in the person of Master Farad Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And as long as we are right, that is the most powerful God there ever was, and he is backing us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I felt more, one of them sisters said, she said, if you see me in a fight with a bear, pray for the bear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, I've never felt any fear, brother, whether I'm doing security or whether I'm at the park with my children. I've never felt fear after I met that man back in 1980 at Long Beach State.
Praise be to Allah.
So no, that doesn't come to. Matter of fact, I mentioned a bear. I got to throw this one in there. We came back from Maui, and Michael said, "Wayne, could you do me a favor?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Can you go up to the ranch and check on Baloo and see if he's still people friendly, or should we send him to a sanctuary?" I said, "Yes, sir, no problem." Who is Baloo? He said the bear. Now, for those of you who are only listening to my voice, let me explain something to you. I'm a black man. I don't know nothing about bears. So this was very, very, I tried to maintain my composure.
Yes, sir.
But
yes, sir.
I took a 2.5-hour journey up to the ranch trying to figure out how am I going to play with a bear? And make a long story longer, I became very good friends with the bear. And I would have never had an experience like that, I'm certain, if it wasn't for Michael. Because, see, Michael Jackson had that kind of money that takes you out of your mindset. I'll ask you a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Do you know where to go to buy a giraffe?
No, sir, I do not. That's right.
Steve Harvey said a long time ago, he said, see, Michael Jackson got giraffe money. If you don't understand what giraffe money is, that's okay. But don't try and judge Michael when you don't have no clue where he's at.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So go ahead.
Yes, sir. Okay, excellent. This is random. I mean, it's not random, but it's side into what you said. Do you know if he named the bear Baloo because of the cartoon show? I think it's called
Jungle Book.
Jungle Book. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, with Baloo the bear. Okay, yes, sir. That's great.
Emphatically, brother. That's why he laughed when I didn't know who Baloo was.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, excellent. Okay, Minister Willie from New Orleans says, Assalamu alaikum. Ask him, has he ever been around the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and Michael Jackson before? If so, can he share with us how the minister handled Michael Jackson and the guidance that he gave to Michael Jackson?
Well, Walaikum salam, Brother Willie. That's my hometown, New Orleans. Come on now, represent. Okay, I digress. But I have been blessed to be at, I believe it was 3 times when the minister and Michael were together. And it's always, in my humble opinion, like a royal event. As far as the advice that the minister gave to Michael, I would suggest that we go and study the what we used to call videotape. I guess it's a webcast now, where the crucifixion of Michael Jackson. And the minister answers that question for you, Brother Willie. And I'm going to go ahead and take a step back and let him answer that question. I feel as though that it was wonderful because I was blessed to be able to view the results of whatever was said during that time. Because we would always give them their space together that they could speak. We weren't in the same room or same setting as they were. We just ran around the perimeter acting like we were doing something.
Okay, excellent. Brother Wayne, I have a question.
Yes.
Were there any? Okay, as of being a huge fan of the Michael Jackson and the Jacksons, well, I'm coming back to the jokes. Were there any celebrities that didn't turn on him, or that may have came by his side to show support when a lot of people were turning on him during the court, the trial, and things of that nature?
Oh man, you know what? I don't know. I actually don't know of the celebrities that turned against him. That's not what I focused on.
Yes, sir.
But there were, we had Jay Leno, Chris Tucker, and came to the trial not so much in defense of Michael Jackson, but they came to the trial to testify that the same woman had tried to do the same thing to them to get money. So, my goodness, brother, I used to take, he had a Rolls Royce limousine. And you remember I told you about the gold room, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He had a Rolls Royce limousine. The interior was designed by Versace himself. I'm not talking about Versace's company. I'm talking about Versace himself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And in this limousine, because of what he put in there, which was a lot of solid gold, the limousine weighed over 6,000 pounds. Man. And I used to go and pick up people in that limousine. I picked up Yoko Ono, Jesse Jackson, Elizabeth Taylor, others that would come to the house. I remember Stevie Wonder came. We had events with Steve Harvey where we went to church at the First AME Church when Pastor Cecil Murray was there. Oh my goodness, man. Depending on where we were, there were always people that showed their love for Michael and respect.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Even though some of those children that were just on the oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to eat my words because Oprah sure did change on my brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. She did.
I apologize. I didn't focus on her, but yeah, she definitely changed on my brother. Woo! But those children did as well because they had a wonderful time at the ranch and all over the place. Michael bought one of their mortgages out for their family. But money, once you get a taste of it, that's why some of these billionaires, when they lose their money in the stock and stuff like that, they got to jump off a bridge and nothing like that because they don't know how to go back to being normal people.
Yes, sir.
And some of these people get a taste of celebrity, of wealth, or whatever the case may be. And then when it's no longer present, like these young boys, Michael set them up in their careers. And now that Michael's gone, they want to sue the estate. Why? Because they're running out of money.
Yes, sir.
One of the boys used to date Jackie's daughter. And he's saying he had a relationship with Michael while he's dating a woman. Look, man, I'm just gonna tell you like this. When I was young, if the government said it, we thought it was true. As I'm older and I got a chance to hear a song by the minister called "The White Man's Heaven is a Black Man's Hell," I became a little bit wiser in that I understand now that whatever they say, you need to investigate the opposite because it's easier to find.
Yes, sir.
So you can't prove a lie. If I tell you that I'm a little short, skinny white boy with blonde hair, there's no way I can prove that because it's a lie. Yes, you cannot prove a lie.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so I say that because Michael's been to court several times, and apparently even after his death. And guess what they haven't been able to do? Prove any of their lies.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, Brother Wayne, I have a quick comment from Brother Duran. He says, Brother Wayne and Brother Bashir held posts before we got there on post, and I've benefited greatly from brother's service and insecurity, and that the brother trained in my 75. I love and respect his brother immensely. Great brother, Captain, and great brother. That's from Brother Duran from Los Angeles.
Praise be to Allah. You, my brother Duran once told me, he said, brother, I think of you when I'm practicing my martial arts because I like to knock out a big man like you. Just I train that way so that I can be better at what I do. That's my brother. I love me some Duran.
Yes, sir. He's a real one for sure. Okay, Sister Khadija says, okay, is it true that Michael's voice was actually deeper, but he spoke in a higher pitch to preserve his voice as a singer?
He didn't speak in a higher voice. He actually spoke in a whisper, which made his voice seem higher. Whenever he would enunciate, his voice was actually, I would say, probably deeper than mine. So you would hear him say, oh, no, don't. See, his voice is high, but really, it was just a whisper. And I got to tell you another funny one, because Brother Duran mentioned Brother Bashir, who, my God, that's my boy. Me and Bashir, everything I'm telling you, you can go to Bashir as a witness bearer, because the absolute majority of this, Bashir was right along my side when I did all this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and we went through ups and downs and all that kind of stuff. I can't tell you a brother that I would go into the trenches with. Yes, now, when I go into the trenches, I'm gonna be careful of what he might have with him, because Bashir is the MacGyver of the nation.
Yeah, I've heard. Yes, sir.
And so you got to be careful, because he don't read instruction books. But no, I got much love for me some Bashir, and like I said, he was there. He can bear witness. And one time, Bashir went to get something for Michael, and I already knew the place was closed, but Bashir told him he could do it and he'd be back in X amount of minutes. And so Bashir is a driver. Yes, I don't know if you know about Bashir's driving skills, but the boy do what he do. And I don't even know if it's legal to talk about some of his maneuvers. Yes, but nevertheless, so he runs out to get the items for Michael, and he calls me and said, brother, it's closed, but I'm gonna head on down to such and such and so and see if that one's open. I said, yes, sir, brother. You told brother you're gonna be right back. Brother, just do what you gotta do, brother. I'm on my way. Yes, sir, brother. And so brother gets to that store and it's closed. He calls me and he calls me. He says, brother, it's closed too. I'm gonna go to the next one. I said, hold on a minute, brother. Hold on a minute. Bashir, you said you were going to be right back. Why are you taking so long? You gave me your word. And Bashir was like, yes, sir. We used to call him by a code name. And so Bashir said, yes, sir, so-and-so. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, so-and-so. Yes, sir. And oh, man. And I couldn't hold it no longer. I started cracking up. And Bashir was upset with me for about a week, man. But it was that, I said all that just to say, it wasn't necessarily a high-pitched voice. Even if you listen to his falsetto, when he gets into falsetto, it's a very strong, pronounced voice. Yes, when he is talking high, that is a whisper, not a high-pitched voice. Yes, and if he enunciates, you'll hear the depth of his voice.
Okay, excellent.
And I guess you won't, because, may Allah be pleased, but you get my point.
Yes, sir. Now we get it. And thank you all Brother Wayne, I have just a few short questions so we can have a better understanding of who we're speaking with for our listener audience who may not know you. Brother Wayne, when did you? No, I'm coming to that, but I want to get this. Joe Jackson. There's a lot of misperception and misunderstanding of him. From your observation of him, what was he like, and what was his? How did he treat you, and how did he treat Michael when you were around?
Well, Joe Jackson, I really loved me some Joe Jackson because I got a chance to know a little bit about Joe Jackson. And before anybody starts judging me or Joe Jackson, let me just say this. We wouldn't be having the conversation on this topic. We wouldn't know anything about Michael Jackson if it wasn't for the work of Joe Jackson.
Yes, sir.
You know, some people say, yeah, but he was really rough on the children. Well, you might want to visit my household when I was young. It wasn't all that nice. I'm certain there's a lot of people my age. Me and Michael were around about the same age, minus a few months.
Yes,
And a lot of people my age got their behind tore up if they did wrong.
yes, sir. So did I, sir.
You know, and nowadays I think that's illegal, but nevertheless, you know, we have to look at the fact that this man was attempting to develop what he actually developed, an iconic family.
Yes, sir.
And my experiences with Joe was, you know, I use humor as my defense mechanism. So if you snap at me, I'm just gonna make you laugh.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm almost grown now. I can't be fighting.
Yes, sir.
We don't really get engaged in that. I'm not in any sporting or martial arts competition. So if I fight, I'm really just trying to kill you because we don't do a lot of fight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With Joe, I remember during the trial, Joe, I said, "Come on, Pops, I got you in this car right here." He said, "I ain't no Pops. This is Joe Jackson. I ain't no Pops. Don't be calling me Pops." I said, "Okay, Pops, just get on right here in this seat right here. I told you don't call me Pops." And so we had a love relationship, whereas I felt compelled to get close to him at this point. And I was going to be nice to him. And so at the end of the trial, he looked at me and I started approaching him. He said, "Stay away from me. Stay away from me." I said, "Man, look, I got to get me a hug, Joe. You know, we celebrating. I got to get a hug." He said, "Look, stay away from me." So I gave him a big old bear hug and spun him around off his feet. And that's the kind of relationship we had. You know, we also went out to buffets together. You know, so during I think it was a Chumas casino that was out there close to the ranch, and they had a buffet out there. Tito used to do a gig out there every now and then. So we had for all y'all that thought I was gonna spew some hate on him, we actually had a good relationship, brother.
Okay, yes,
But
sir.
you know, I don't know if you know. Well, I do know you know because I know your father. your 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 father used to tell me, if you're really hard on the small things, the big things don't come across your desk. And man, that was about 25 years ago he told me that, but I've always kept that in my mind because it's easier to tell you to stop smacking that gum than for Medea to have to crawl into the back seat and whoop your backside.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, just stop smacking the gum.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know. So that's my Joe Jackson era. I don't have a problem with Joe. Was he the kindest person? I think that really depends on who you were. You know, I was blessed to go out and have a meal with the minister present with Joe Jackson. And I got from my beloved Supreme Captain a long time ago, actually He was the assistant supreme captain back then, but he simply put, if if my father befriends you, I befriend you. So, if the minister's cool with him, I'm cool with him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Same thing. Same thing. Okay, excellent. Brother Wayne, I want to knock these questions out because we want to keep it to the time. I don't want to take too much more of your time. Brother Wayne, when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
1980. Actually, I heard something from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad prior to that, but I was a youngster and I really wasn't trying to hear it. Like my mama used to say, I can teach you, but I can't learn you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so when I was in college at Long Beach State, I was the president of the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, that chapter, Epsilon Kappa chapter. And in our chapter, I had the brother who was also the president of the Associated Student Body and a brother that was the president of the Black Student Union. And they came to me because the minister was banned from the campus and they would not allow the minister to speak. And I came up with a little idea where I went to the people and said, look, I'd like to have the small auditorium in order to have a pledge. We used to call it a pledge rush, where you try and get pledges to join your fraternity, or you try and get brothers to join your fraternity or pledge your fraternity. And so they approved of it. And then I went back to them. And of course, this is an older white man. And I asked if we could have a guest speaker. And they said, well, who is the guest speaker? And I said, well, I don't have anyone in line just yet. I was wondering, maybe you can do it. And the white fella turned pretty pale pink and said, no. I can't. I don't get involved in all that. Now, of course, this is a Black Greek organization, and he ain't trying to do nothing to help us no way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I accomplished my goal. I wanted him to say that. And once he said that, I said, can I get back to you on it? And because he was already embarrassed and blushing, he said, you know what, just go ahead. I said, thank you, sir. So we held off. It was on a Friday, and he was going to speak at 1 o'clock. And at 11 o'clock, we just blanketed the campus with flyers, letting everybody know he was going to be there. He spoke at the small auditorium, and it was packed. Matter of fact, there was standing room in the back of the auditorium, and most of the people standing back there was them old white men I was just talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he spoke on the restrictive laws, and he said all the things that I wanted to say. And I've been right there keeping my eye on him ever since. And now I don't know about Michael, but I can tell you it certainly changed my life because I wasn't lived that kind of life before. And so yeah, he was a real blessing to me and at a prime time. And of course, the Monday after that, I got called into that office, and I guess they thought they were going to discipline me, but I was okay with that. And I told them that I can either go with that man or stay here and learn whatever you're teaching. But that's the decision you're making, because don't think you're just going to kick me out of here and I'm not going to learn nothing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so again, they were dumbfounded. But that's how I got started.
Excellent. And Brother Wayne, who helped train you to make you the type of security personnel that you were able to, deal with celebrities and deal with the proper handling of people when you were coming in from Los Angeles and things of that nature? Who were some of the people who helped train you to help you be able to get prepared for Michael Jackson?
Well, the great Wali, may Allah be pleased with him, was my captain in the Western region.
Yes, sir.
And he was there for me. When I had a question, he had an answer. And Wali means friend, and the minister gave him that name. So if he didn't have an answer, he would call the one that named him friend and find out what the answer is.
Yes, sir.
And I had the great Wazir, who was the regional minister. May Allah be pleased with him.
Yes, sir.
They were a tag team that was put together by the minister with one, what do you call that, provision, that Wazir could not bust Wali, even though he was a minister. They had to work together.
Yes,
and he's the one that took me up and down the region. He's the one that first made me a captain, and then he wanted me to start going out and about, so he made me a state captain, which was basically just a liaison for the regional captain. And then he told me to go to Vegas, and when I went there, whoo, he told me, keep on going back. You're doing a good job. And it was rough. And then after he uh, was relieved by Brother Hugh, I'm not going to strive to disrespect my brother, but everybody know we talking about, I believe it's Wali Allah.
Yes, sir. I don't know how to pronounce it yet either.
Okay, so you understand what I'm talking. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I love my brother.
Yes, sir.
But he know what's really going on. We'll talk later. Anyway, and of course, during that particular time period, the 90s, we had a brother that came about. I think you know him well. And it was the first time we had a supreme captain where the minister introduced him as, this brother is over everybody except myself. And based on the works that he had done by staying around the minister and helping wherever he could, is how he eventually got to that position. And I use that as an example that whenever the minister is on the West Coast, that's where I'm going to be. And, we have a brother who is currently the regional captain. Back then, he was just the captain's captain, Brother Halim. And Brother Halim, you can't keep up with him, but the brother's brilliant when it comes to security. He don't talk a lot about it, but if Halim come to your city, he gonna take over.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he gonna find all the doors, all the entrances, all the exits, and he gonna have men posted there. He has a brilliant security mind, and unfortunately, in my humble little opinion, I don't know if he gets enough credit for all that he does. But Halim older than me, and he's still outrunning some of these youngsters, man. Now, don't get me wrong. You can't understand what he say, because he'll tell you, get up, stand up, throw up, stand up, go left, correct, because he's constantly moving that fast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But it's a brother who has a sincere love for the minister in his heart, and is a true hear and obey captain. If the minister say something, you're going to find Halim striving diligently to make that a reality.
Yes, sir.
And these are the ones that were here in the hometown, but there was a company that developed called NOI Security. You might know who brought that about. And I was able to refine not necessarily the business, the security skills, but I got to learn a bit about the business side of security. And NOI Security was well known. We did a magazine article where we were on the cover of the page talking about the hip hop nation. And Minister Tony, who is now Mr. Malik, was front and center on it, and then we fanned off behind him. Matter of fact, your regional captain was on the other side of him when I was on the, I can't remember, one of us was on the right, one of us on the
Yes, sir.
left.
Yes, sir.
And that's a whole nother subject. I could do a whole nother interview just on your regional captain, but
Yes, sir.
we got love too. But your father, brother, brought NOI security to another level with the help of the assistant supreme captain at that time, our supreme captain today, Brother Mustafa. My goodness.
Yes, sir.
This man know everybody.
Yes, sir.
This man know everybody. And so I can say, all that being said, that if it were not for the minister, all these great men raised up to help him. And it is from that entity that I was introduced and assigned and contracted to work with various different celebrities. I believe there's somewhere around 37 or 38 of them that I've been with total.
Dang, go ahead, Brother Wayne. Yes, sir. Excellent. Okay, well, Brother Wayne, one
So
last.
I guess I could have just said the minister.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate your details because I don't know the timeline. So when you give each person, Minister Wazir, when you do it like that, it helps me and well some of the people in the audience understand exactly what time period you were trained in. Yes, sir. What do you want your legacy to be, sir?
I lived the life. I lived the life I love, and I love the life I've lived.
Yes, sir. Well, I thank you, sir. And on behalf of my father, my mother, my siblings, and my grandmother as well.
Yes, sir. My Mama Muhammad. You better put her in there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We've always loved you. And we thank you for your hard work and your dedication. And we thank your family for their sacrifice and being sacrificed so that you could, put in work for the nation, help establish Islam, and travel with all of the 38 celebrities and one particular celebrity who we celebrate his 10th anniversary of him being gone. Long live Michael Jackson and his legacy. I thank you for your putting in work and your representation today, Brother Wayne. You really showed me another side of Michael Jackson today just through your great eyewitness testimony. I appreciate that.
Praise is due to Allah, and on behalf of our brother, I'm going to say as he would say, I love you more, as well as your family. And I hope and pray you all know that it should be ingrained in your minds. Your family has been very, very instrumental for myself and my family, allowing me to see a vision of a man that I could become. And so I can't thank your father enough for all that he's done for me.
Oh, praise to Allah. Thank you, sir, and love you more, Brother Duran. Thank you, Brother Janelle. Thank you all for watching. We'll have this interview on YouTube on Joshua Muhammad Off the Record. I wish everyone to have a blessed day. And Brother Wayne, you got me motivated. I'm about to go listen to some Michael Jackson as we speak.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.